I am telling you, it is the definition between an entrepreneur and an employee. The employee goes to the cliff, looks over the cliff, says, is there a balloon down there? Do I reach space? What happens if it clicks? What if I land on my neck? The entrepreneur, they said, when you jump off the cliff, backs up 10 feet to get a fucking run.
This town needs an enema.
Fuck.
Julio! Where's Commissioner Green?
Come on. You guys can beat me.
You stupid!
You don't really think you believe things change.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Everything changed. And anyone who tells you different is just lying.
You know who this is? This is Mark motherfucking Sylvester.
There we go.
Here we are.
That's how we are. We are live. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty on Joey's behalf, but he'll be joining us shortly.
Yeah.
Without further ado, welcome to Ahrendt Stuff 223 with our esteemed guest, the godfather of Ahrendt Stuff, Mr. Dan Fraga.
Yo, that's so crazy. That first off, it's episode 223. Not only is that it's my PO box number, right? And 23 is my favorite number.
Right.
And Michael Turner and I used to play a game where he would hide 23s and I would hide 21s. So it's apropos, great episode number.
Look at that.
Hey, yeah, I saw somebody in the chat. I wanted to address them. It was Annabelle Mother. They were here first.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's Black Flag? It's on the board, man. And it's getting done. If you back the book, you saw the update that I had spinal surgery. I'm recovering now. I am bionic. No more hand tremors. So the book is on its way, man. That is your answer.
That's great news, and it's great news that you're on the road to recovery. I know that.
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me, man. We talked a little bit at Garden State, but I dealt with those hand tremors and like just push forward with drawing what I could, and I put those layouts out, and I got comments like, "Are you drawing with crayons?" And it's like, "Nah, man, I'm showing you what I'm doing because I'm moving." But I can't do all the little details because my hands were shaking like an old person. So
sometimes things are out of our hands.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, I'm glad to be alive. I'll tell you that much.
God bless.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We got Rick Saylor in the house.
Rick Saylor. I haven't seen him in a minute. What's up, dude?
We got
which one did you follow on Instagram? Because I have two. I have I have three. I have one that's Couch Doodles, which is like one I've had for like 12 years. Then I have another one called Fraga Boom 23, which is all my freestyles that I used to do in the car. I used to drive. I had a 2.5 hour drive each way. So 5 hours in my car to go to my old job when I worked at Mattel back in the day. Right, that's the good one. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And I listen to all my favorite albums and playlists and audiobooks. And I've been working there for like, I think when I started doing them was like 2.5 years. I was like, fuck, I gotta do something. So I started just putting beats in the car and rapping, you know. And what I found is it was almost you. Or before we started the show, you and I were talking about that free flow drawing, the one that Kim
Yes.
Jong-gi really popularized. And what I found was mental exercises helped a lot. Like learning the Rubik's cube helped a lot. Freestyle
Oh,
rapping helped a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And what it does is it makes your brain create the future, and then you're in the present, and you basically have to keep approaching that thing your brain is creating,
Right.
right? And so freestyle rap does that free flow drawing does that, Rubik's cube does that. And I really feel like that's the strong fundamental of really bringing what's in your head out. And again, we talked earlier today, and I can't wait to talk about today's topics, man. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you, Bemis. He was talking about graybeards. We did 80s heroes, and I did.
Oh my goodness.
Let me see. Let me switch cameras real quick. We'll feature that. I'm glad you liked that, Mr. Bemis. That was a whole lot of fun to do. There we go. It was
Wow.
yeah, it was Dutch, or not Dutch. Sorry, man, my brain's broken today. It's Matrix from Commando. Let me back
Yeah.
the camera up a little bit so you can see the whole deal along with my beverage. But this is what I did, and you know, Aaron brought the heat with a Snake Plissken, and David Brohawk sessioned us all with his wonderful RoboCop. And then today I did some sketching. I was showing you this earlier today. I
So
did this
dope.
at lunch. My stepson was getting his tattoo filled in, so I was there waiting for him. So I went and got lunch and drew this. And then these are some more warm up drawings. So just showing people, look, I got my hand back. It's good. God is good. But thank you, Mr.
Facts.
Bemis. Appreciate that. You bringing that up.
Hey, did you ever read that book, How to Draw is on the Left Side of the Brain?
Right Side of the Brain by
Right
Betty
side.
Edwards. This is the second time today I've had a conversation about this book.
Okay.
That's funny you bring it up. Yes, I did. I was introduced to that book when I was maybe 11 or 12.
Okay.
And it was because my grandfather, he taught at a he taught at an adult school. Do you know what, like, have you heard of those, like a continuation school? So anybody from 18 to 100 years old can basically sign up for classes, right? So the
Okay.
class my grandfather taught, the curriculum was that book. You know what, Henry? Because for some reason, even though I started at Image Comics, even though I signed a deal with Image Comics in 2000 that says I can publish anything I want there in perpetuity, when Eric Stevenson took over, he decided to change the rules and told me that I had to go through the submission process. I brought the grave there. I was bringing Black Flag there, and I was rejected. So there you have it. I wasn't welcome home.
He is. Sure it was.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was really good, and that's the other thing about feeling better is I get to start streaming more. You
Good,
know,
good.
being really tired all the time was not good. But
I bet they probably have you doped up on all these different pills. Just
well, yeah, what they did. So the back pain started in 2016, but the tremors didn't start till about maybe June of 2020, and they started in my left hand. And somebody on the stream noticed it. I think it was Leg Kick, but then another guy, Tippy Tail McKitty, he said, "Hey, I'm noticing you're having shakes. You should take some magnesium." So I looked up like the right one. It's called magnesium L-threonate. So I was
okay.
taking that, and it was helping a little. But the thing that was helping a lot was yo. J Money, man. I miss
Nice.
you, dude. Uh, yeah, I was just drinking. I was drinking a lot to keep my hands steady, but then I was drunk. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I finally saw a doctor, and I thought, I have another thing called Dupuytren's contracture, which doesn't affect drawing, but it's a abnormal growth in under your ring finger.
I got one of those, but for different reasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could see on this hand there's none of that. And on this hand you can see how it's all like bunched up. It feels like almost like a weightlifting callus,
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought the tremors might have be related to that. And my back pain, I knew I had bone spurs because I had back in 2016, they told me I had bone spurs. What up, San Fran, man? That's my old haunting grounds.
Good
I
to
grew up
see
in
you.
the Bay. I grew up in the Bay, man. Yeah, you can have it removed, but there's a 15% chance of nerve damage. And
Ooh.
when you draw for a living, you don't want to mess with that. And again, I thought they were connected, but what I found out through a series of X-rays,
Mhm.
CT scan, it's called an EMG, and an MRI, and a lot of different drugs in between, because they were like, maybe you have early onset Parkinson's, and then they're like, you don't. I was like, thank God, but they had to like troubleshoot, and they gave me gabapentin, which
Oh my God, that shit fucks me up.
I hated that shit. I felt like a
Oh.
carbonated beverage.
Yep.
I felt like
Mhm.
it's not good.
Yep.
And anyway, through the process, they found out that I had something called canal stenosis, which is where your bones are growing abnormally and inside the vertebrae. So what was happening? Yeah, exactly. What was happening was my vertebrae were constricting my spinal cord,
Mhm.
and also when it was doing that, it was pushing everything out, including my discs and nerves, into my arthritic bone spurs, which are abnormal bone growth on the outside of your vertebrae.
Mhm.
So when they told me, yeah, you have canal stenosis, and this is much worse than what you had in 2016. It's only been 8 years, and if you don't do anything about this, your bones are basically going to paralyze you. You know what I'm saying? That they would grow in and like fuck you
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, what can we do? They told me about something called an ACDF, which is an anterior cervical dissection and fusion. And they went in through my neck. It's lovely that they did such a good job. They went in through my neck. They pulled out all the discs. They cleaned out all the excess bone on the inside. They shaved down the bone spurs on the outside, put cadaver bones in the 3 discs that they took out, and then put a 68 millimeter titanium piece of metal and 8 screws right here in my throat. And so now I have cadaver bones, and let me see. I have a picture of it if you want to see it.
Yeah, if we can make that happen. So wait a
Yeah,
minute,
I'm a
so you're
robot.
telling me, yeah, you are Bloodstrike, is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
I'm bionic now, man. Yeah,
Nice.
it's crazy. Let me see if I can find it. July. Oh, my phone, man. When you have kids, you take so many damn pictures. Here it is. You can see the metal thing. This is in my neck now. Yeah, here you go. See that? That's
Oh
in
my
my neck.
goodness.
Oh, that is. There we go. See, that's what they did.
So how does it feel like? Well, okay, this is stupid. Like swallowing, like
The first 2 weeks were terrible. Fuck. Yeah, the first 2 weeks were terrible. I swallowing really hurt, and then the following 2 weeks after that, I felt like a cow, because you know
Mhm.
how they have a second stomach and they chew their
Yeah,
cud and and then they eat it again.
yeah.
Well, I would swallow, the lump would sit there, and then I'd go like that, and it would come back up, and then I'd have to swallow it again.
Wow.
So it's terrible. It's terrible.
Sounds terrible.
You back with us, Joey?
But you sound amazing. I can tell that's a mic.
Finally.
Tell that's a mic, man.
Yeah, finally. I'm up and running again. I don't know what the hell that was.
Hey,
let me get on screen here.
This chorus is for you, pal.
All right. I like that. Let's go.
It's a refreshing beer. It's a refreshing beverage. It's Beerie. It's right next to water. It's like where water and beer touch.
Right. Yeah. I can always drink a bunch of those because I know like I piss them out immediately. So even though my bar tab might get a little high, I'm not as,
but they're easy to drink, man.
Not sloshy when I'm trying to pick up chicks.
And I've been sitting in the backstage just listening, trying to play producer, which was actually kind of fun.
Doing a great job, Joey.
That wasn't bad at all. But I was listening to you, Dan, and what's weird? Did I freeze?
Yes.
Yeah, you froze.
Well,
we can hear you.
Let's get rid of the camera if I can. Can you still hear me?
Not even getting rid of the camera.
Yeah.
You get to throw the MC.
Throwing it up there like that.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to what you were saying, the issues you had going on with like the tremors and stuff in your hand. I have the exact same thing going on right now.
You do?
And I've been going to the chiropractor trying to get it figured out because of like possible nerve damage and all this stuff.
They can make it worse, man. A chiropractor can make it worse because if you have stenosis or bone spurs and they twist you wrong, they could be the one that catches your nerve. Do you know what I'm saying? And then it'll get worse. What you need to do is you need to go see your I had to learn how to navigate the what do you call that? The medical insurance and medical system.
Oh yeah.
But you see your general practitioner first. Corey Barton's in the house. What's up, Corey?
Legend.
You have to see your general practitioner, and then they refer you to an X-ray, and then from that X-ray, you send that X-ray to your insurance and say this X-ray leads us to believe he needs a CT. They won't just give you a CT, like they want it. They want it to be very procedural. So when you get a CT, they're gonna see with the X-ray what your bones are doing. With the CT, they're gonna see a little more imaging, what's going on back there. And then the EMG is a series of needles that they stick in you and send electric signals.
Okay.
And what it does is it sends them back, and it's done by like this expert. Like they sit there and they put these dots on you and they check, but there's like a spectrometer that will tell them like what nerves and where the problem is happening. So that's how, like for me, they discovered that. And then from that EMG, they said, okay, well, we need an MRI to like really be the full-fledged version. And that's when I saw a neurosurgeon.
That's what I'm going through.
Interesting.
They're having me go through the X-rays because I've been having really paralyzing pain in my left shoulder, like horrible. So like because the insurance doesn't cover the whatchamacallit, I gotta do the ropes. I gotta do this stuff. It's a pain in the dick.
You have to. And like for some, they're like, oh, well, physical therapy. And it's like, well, it's almost like an algebraic equation where it's like, well, physical therapy, my EMG basically told them physical therapy won't help this. Because that was almost like their like when I went in, the doctor said, I said, oh, so have you seen the X-ray and the CT? He goes, well, yeah, but my job is to really get in there. So, and that he works, I don't think he works for the insurance company, but he's there to basically like put the kibosh on whether or not it's something or not. And what he said in the beginning was, yeah, I don't look at this. This machine tells me everything I need to know. Like, those X-rays and things are great, but this is like the thing.
Right.
He goes, probably they're going to handle this conservatively with some shots and some PT and da. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's cool. Like if it'll fix it. And he's like going through. And then once he got here on my arm, the needle was here and here. The sound was going and he goes, oh, and I go, what? He goes, that's supposed to sound like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Oh, that's no good.
And I was like, oh, he goes, that thing I said about conservatively, he goes, you need surgery. And that was like that was when they put it through to get the MRI and send me to the neurosurgeon.
Oh, well,
What an
Yeah.
ordeal.
I've been having issues for a few years. Nothing major, but definitely
Yeah.
a little bit of a wobbly hand. I finished
Yeah.
most of Reaper Destroyer drawing like that, and I had to kind of get
Yeah.
used to it.
Yeah.
And I was kind of worried the same thing too. I was like, man, Parkinson's was the first thing that popped in my head. You know, I was like, oh man, come
Yeah,
on.
that's
Like I'm just
that
working on this
Parkinson's
book.
and MS. It's like we go to the worst thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought too. I was like, oh man, I was like, Lord, don't take away my hand just yet. Like,
Yeah.
let me draw a few more issues and get a story out, and
Yeah.
fade off into the night.
I'm a 30-year diabetic. I'm lucky that my prick still works without fucking pills. Like every day's a blessing to hear.
Yeah, I'll look
That's how
into
I
that.
feel.
I'll
I'm
look into
51.
that.
I feel that really deeply, man.
My bad.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, sorry everybody that I made you wait so long. The computer is acting up, which is not normal. So it is what it is. But these guys carried the show for me, so I'm very, very happy about that.
It's not our first rodeo.
That's true.
No,
we're professionals.
not even it's not our first rodeo or my first time on this show.
That's right.
Facts.
That
Yeah.
is absolutely right. It's been too long, Dan,
It
since
has.
the last time we had you on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm glad we could work this out. I'm glad you're feeling better. We do have a very fun topic tonight, a topic that I think is very right up your alley.
So excited about this topic. This is probably one of my favorite topics.
This is going to be good. And why this is good is because I just recently, not too long ago, probably a couple weeks ago, got into some spats or whatever you want to call them now these days. And
get off of it.
I do have to say, I've been using a word to describe some of these people. The word rhymes with fatsies, and I call them art fatsies. I'm not going to do that anymore because I think it's pretty. I don't want to use that word anymore. Rhymes with fatsies. Fatsies. Yeah. So I don't want to use that word anymore, but I'm just going to go to say art critics, right? There's a lot of
I called them art back in the day. It was art snobs.
Okay, let's just do that. I like that.
What
art
up?
snobs.
I see Kayla in the chat. What's up, girl?
Kayla's here.
I haven't seen her in a minute.
What's going
happening?
on?
Good to see you.
She's kind of mad at us. She's like, "Why can't I be on the show with Dan?" And we're like,
"Why can't you be on the show with us?"
Did she say that?
Nah, she didn't say it.
She's a
I was just gonna say, like, every time you say that, though, like someone else goes, like, "Why don't you let her on the show?" I'll be like, guys, it's a bit. We're joking.
It's a bit. Okay,
it's a bit.
Yeah, that's our girl.
I don't think anybody
that's my
understands
girl.
the bit.
I know her.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it just kind of goes back to like I defend art in the aspect of coolness. Like how does it make you feel emotionally? Does it get you excited? And there's a lot of people out there, art snobs, art critics, whatever you want to call it, that love to dunk on people, love to just drag down art because it might not be perfect or might not be, what someone idea of aesthetically pleasing is. So I get
everybody's standards different.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, that everybody's standards different, but like we'll get into the nitty gritty. But this is what I have to say. Like, I'm just gonna do this in a college professorial way.
I like it.
Okay.
And lay out my whole thesis in one simple thing.
Nice.
Comic books are unique in that we have a unique set of vocabulary that cannot be emulated by Hollywood. It tries. It got close with Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But what makes comic books are all the things that these art snobs bash on.
Right. Yes.
That's my whole thesis, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Like the I can't remember how I put it the other day, but I was saying like comic books it's a unique form of art expression and storytelling to most anything else that's out there, because of the way that art is exaggerated, like no one's trying to draw perfect humans, right? Everything is trying to be exaggerated to show the power, to show dynamics and all that kind of stuff, to show energy, the moves, all that. It's very unique to any other art form, I believe, out there when it comes to storytelling. So when you get all of the style, I don't know who said it, but I swear I heard someone say that style comes from all the stuff that you do wrong.
Eric Larson said that once.
Was it? Oh, geez. Well,
I know.
It makes sense, though. I mean,
listen,
the source is the source, I guess, but it does make sense.
I'll tell you what. when I was a kid, there was what's happening?
Hell, brother.
There was a single image, one image that pushed me over the edge, and in my mind it was like, what do they call it, galvanizing, where it's like
Yeah.
there's no other route. This is
Mhm.
what I'm doing. It took one image, and it was the cover of Dark Knight 2, and it was
Oh, okay.
Batman all crunched over with his
Mhm.
pouches and his beat up face,
Yep.
because I was like, holy fuck, this Batman's fucking bananas. Like I lost my mind, because I was so used to seeing Super Friends and
Mhm.
Pajama Batman, like that's, I call him,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You
Yeah, the
know,
whole
and
Jose
then I
Luis
see this
Garcia. Yeah.
guy, and he's just fucking massive. I called my grandpa over, and I'm like, Grandpa, man, you got to see this. And I go, this is Batman, and he was born in 1917. He knows who Batman was, and he's like, wow, that artist is really expressing himself. But that was my grandpa's thing. He was an artist too, and I said, yeah, if you can do this with characters,
Mm.
you can do anything. I want to do
Right.
this. I want to do this. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I don't.
Mhm.
And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but because I love this stuff. But when Ultimates came out, that
Yeah.
was like, oh
Mm.
fuck, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, it was so cinematic and realistic, and storyboarded in a way where, and they didn't use any sound effects. Did you notice that? If you look at the first Ultimates, there's no sound effects.
I didn't
I
know
have to go back to do
Yeah,
that.
go look at it. They literally removed it, all
Mm.
these comic book conventions, and I don't mean
Right.
places where we gather. I mean the
Right.
conventions
Yeah, stuff that
that
made
we
it cool.
use.
Yeah.
They took out like exaggeration. They took out,
Mm.
and they Hitch and Millar did a great job.
Right.
But
Yeah. It was good. It
but
was good stuff.
somewhere editorially, wherever, they were like, oh well, Alex Ross and this stuff works. People want realism.
Mm.
And guys like me, I stopped getting work because I was like,
Right.
you're too imagey, you
Yeah.
you draw too exaggerated, and like it's too excited, and it's like, that's comics though,
I was just
man.
gonna say, but that's what
Yeah.
comics is, like that's
Like it's supposed to be that way, and I don't know what. And when I think about all of my favorite artists over time, all of them, they're all cartoonists.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
whether it's Michael Golden, Art Adams, Todd McFarlane,
Yep.
Yeah.
Sam Keith,
Oh,
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
they are all cartoonists. And what happens, and I talked to Stephen Platt about this. Thank you. I talked to Stephen Platt about this because Stephen, as you know, you guys, obviously, I saw the intro.
huge fans.
Oh, yeah.
Good
Huge
Loved,
intro, by the
loved
way.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good intro, by the
Absolutely.
way.
Thank you. Thank you.
I met Steve as he was working on Moon Knight. I was like Rob's ambassador.
Oh, yeah.
Rob sent me to Toronto to like talk to Steve, and like I hung out with Steve. I watched him draw a Moon Knight cover.
Oh, that's awesome.
The cover of Moon-
Nice.
I literally watched him draw the cover of Moon Knight 55. It was awesome, right?
Wow.
And he and I became friends. He helped me with the Black Flag 1 cover, that big one. Like, he was
Yeah.
like, push the chest out, widen the legs. Like, he helped
Yes.
he helped me really kind of see that thing. And I'll show them privately. I never show them publicly because he told me never show these publicly.
Oh.
But I have his sample pages that got him the gig. He was on his way to meet us. And when I say us, I mean Rob Liefeld and the Extreme Gang at Jim Haley's
Yeah.
Universe. And he went to the bank to get some money. And the guy in front of him had a Marvel Comics jacket on. And he goes, "Oh, you work at Marvel? Oh, no, but my cousin does," or some shit, right? He goes, "Oh, I'm a comic book artist," and he shows him the stuff. He's like, "Oh, why do you have your stuff?" He's like, "I'm about to go to this." He's like, "Nah, I'm going to take you up to the Marvel offices."
Nice.
So he was literally bypassed. right?
Wow.
Like, and which was great. He went
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and went and did his Moon Knight stuff, but the stuff he had in that portfolio, I have first generation photocopies of, which is a Punisher
Oh
Wolverine,
wow,
Punisher Wolverine fighting people in the sewers.
Oh, baby, share that.
dude.
I know you
Yeah,
Yeah,
can't, but wow.
yeah. I would love
yeah,
to see that. Yeah,
This
hell
is
yeah.
such an iconic cover. I
yeah.
love
Oh,
everything
dude,
about this. So
it
powerful.
is, and I'm gonna break your brain though.
Okay.
Please.
Pull up Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #5 cover.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on a second. You know what's funny? Because we went over some. We were doing the whole Stephen Platt, Moon Knight, and some of the Prophet stuff, and then Moon Knight. I definitely saw some. I don't know if you want to call them swipes,
Oh yeah,
but
Well, the
definitely
whole
some
yeah,
borrow.
Infinity War one was
Hold on a
pure.
yeah,
second.
yeah.
Spider-Man
Tons
5
of it.
cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pick up Spider-Man 5. Todd McFarlane from Torment. It was a.
Yeah. Let me. I gotta
It's
find
one
it.
of my favorite covers of all time.
Is
That's
the one
why
with the
Google is
circles?
stupid nowadays. Like they don't really
no,
give good
it's.
images. Let me see if I can grab.
I can pull it up if you want me to.
If you got a better, because I'm looking on Google and all they have is like these low res. Even this Moon Knight I pulled up was just this low res. It just ticks
All
me
right,
off.
hold on a second. I gotta look up. I'm in. I have. I'll share my screen so you can see my. This is a.
Okay,
What do you call it? Like a humble brag?
it could be.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's or a flex. The kids call it a flex. Uh, this is my flex. So if you want to share my screen, check
Yeah, there you
this
go.
out. This is my private server
Oh, that's right. I forgot you had
in
this.
my house. It's
Yes.
only in my house. So if I go like this and I type in Spider-Man like that, it's gonna pull up all the
Oh,
different
wow, that's crazy, man.
Spider-Man stuff, right? So but then what I can do, because we want to be specific, I'll look up Torment, which will pop up this, right? And
There you go.
hopefully in this collection it'll have the covers. I hope it would. Let's fit it to height. Let's see how it does it. Yeah, so there's the cover one.
Yep.
So what 8? Let's say go to page. Let's go to page going back 100. Let's go to 87. Boom. Okay, so that's 87. There it is.
Yep. There it
Okay.
is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Now
Right.
look at this. Look at the as an artist. Look at this and look at the elements. It's the hero facing left to right, ripped, torn, shredded to pieces, foreground elements moving left to right, overlapped. Now go ahead and share that Moon Knight image again.
All right, let me bring that back up.
Now he was doing something really crazy using like 0.005 microns to ink
That's the
mostly.
truth. That's the truth.
God bless.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
was he really? That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's not a direct swipe, but it was like he even told me, "Oh, I love the energy of this cover."
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
see shape wise, and this is something I learned in my older age as an artist, which I'm happy to share with you guys. Mike, man, what's up, brother?
Happy
going on,
belated
Mike?
birthday,
Yeah.
brother.
Happy
Oh
birthday,
yeah,
Mike.
what are you, 50 now?
50, the big 50.
Oh,
God
you
damn.
poor SOB. Welcome to the body aches. Yeah, 59 cover. No. Maybe 59's not the one that he drew. Let me go to my Ubiquity and look up
There you
Moon
go.
Knight. I'm gonna look up Moon Knight real quick.
Okay.
Mark Spector, right?
Yeah,
Is it
but
with
while
a
you're
C?
doing that, what was it with a
I think it's
Was it
yeah,
Mark Spector's
yeah, with a
Moon Knight?
C?
it's popping up. It's popping
M-A-R-C
up.
Spector.
Yeah, I got it. All right. Here we go.
59.
No, it was 58 that I watched him draw. Here, so 58
Oh, okay,
is what
58.
I watched him draw this cover. This is the
Gotcha.
cover I watched him draw. And
Yeah,
then
this
we
was
went.
such a fun run.
Yeah.
Platt
It
was in his
was, but
Marvel element.
this is something going back to our topic. I know we can go off and do a whole show on Splat,
Oh yeah.
but our topic is when Steve looks back on this stuff, he's embarrassed by it,
Right. I could see. I mean, I
right?
understand that. We
and
think
he's
it's
like,
awesome, but I get it.
right, but he's like, you know, and you see where he's turned his dials. Like he's, you know, the Soul Saga stuff and like the covers he's doing now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously solid stuff, but I'm telling you what, man, the talking in just the frankest terms, the biggest art boner I've ever got was from looking at his samples.
Oh yeah.
I can
Yeah, I'll
imagine.
share them with you guys at
Oh
some point,
dude.
but it
Yeah,
has
that'd
to
be
be
awesome.
like I said, it has to be
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but
We
no,
love keeping secrets.
yeah, no, the it's weird because it's like y- some people get caught up in wanting to impress those art snobs. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I realized, because someone asked me, like, they're like, why do you want to draw? Why do you want to make comics? You know, and why? And even furthermore, because you know, I went into directing and animation and
Right.
stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I realized in making music, I realized it's all about the same thing. And what that thing is you felt it, Sean, you felt it, Joe. Everybody in the chat has felt this feeling. That time you pick up a comic and you flip through it and you go, whoa, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, yeah. Like
Yeah.
you get that, like, oh my God, or you know, you buy a record and you
Hmm.
put it on and you're like, I can't believe this shit, you
Yep.
know.
There you go.
And what I thought about was I want to recreate that feeling. I want to know how to do that. I want to do that for people. I want to
Hmm.
do it for myself.
Yep.
And I also want to teach people how to do that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So
I know exactly. Yeah, I know
yeah,
exactly, and that's what's awesome about the arts. I mean, you know, we can talk about music and other forms of art as well. You know, just specifically though about comics. The times that I remember reading comics as a kid, when you open up those pages and you were just lost, and everything is just so amazing. I
Hmm.
still get those as a 42-year-old man that I did
42.
when I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? That I will, you know, even
Sorry, I'm
looking at
laughing.
books from the 90s. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I know, right? You know,
yeah.
42 years. But even
Nah,
at looking
man.
at books from the 90s or even stuff that comes out today that of artists I follow, like Brett Booth or something, you know, I pick
Yeah,
it's still that same feeling. And when you
yeah.
get that feeling, when you experience it, yeah, if you were an artist, yeah, I want to give that feeling. Like when I'm
Hmm.
And
drawing
there's
my book, I'm
yeah,
drawing for myself because
that's it.
I'm
Yes.
trying to give what I love and then hope everybody else connects with it, right? But
Yep.
just
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's what is awesome about comic book art is that right there. It doesn't matter if it's something that's perfectly drawn, you know, to some kind of perspective, you know, anatomy. It's just like, what does it give you
I just
feeling wise, and
realized
how does
something.
it stay with you, or
I
does it
just
stay with you?
realized something right now. Just this moment right now. Uh I had two lessons. One was from Todd McFarlane,
Mm.
Mm.
and then the other was from Norm Ratman, the inker.
Oh
Norm
yeah,
Ratman.
no, yeah,
What a sweetheart of a
Yeah,
human
he's
being
a
and
sweetheart
just
of
as
a human
talented.
being, but what I realized is my answer to Norm. Here it is. It's like 23 years later, I have my answer for him.
Hmm.
Okay.
okay,
Todd McFarlane told me, he said to me, "Hey bud, what's your favorite comic book?" You know, and I was like, "The Dark Knight." "Oh yeah, tell me some things from Dark Knight." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, like, tell me your favorite parts. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, you know, of course, him jumping over the city, him standing over the fucking dude he beat up with the mud. He's on the horse. He's got the Joker and da da da. And he goes, "Well, tell me some other parts." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You don't remember like other parts, do you?" And I go, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Tell me about the part. Like, describe the panel where he's jumping across the city." And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, he's in the upper left. Robin's down in the lower right. There's a city far back, 1 point perspective. They're moving left to right. You know, I could break it down." But then
right.
he's like, "Tell me about when Bruce Wayne goes into the grocery store disguised as the old lady," you
Mm.
know? And I'm like, "I can't." He goes, "That's right." And he goes, "You know, you to get through these things sometimes what you do is you put like 3 or 4 of those can't forget them moments, and then the rest you just fill with whatever." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, cool." right? And this is a lesson from Todd, who
Yes.
you know, I hold real high.
Sure.
But okay, uh, but and I feel that way when you look at Todd's stuff. You could go through early Spawn and some Spider-Mans and go dope, dope. Oh yeah, filler, 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 dope,
Yeah.
dope,
Oh
filler,
yeah.
filler,
Yeah.
filler, right?
Yep.
Norm Ratman, when I was working on Wolverine, said to me, he said, I don't know why he talks like Eeyore a little bit. I don't know why they put so many details and so many things. People don't look at that stuff. And I was like, yeah, they do. Here's my answer to Norm Ratman and why I don't agree with Todd. That feeling that we're talking about,
Mhm.
let's call it energy,
Yeah.
right? Energy. Those books that have those 4 or 5 images that you go, oh shit, yeah, I can remember Joe Mad's run on X-Men. I remember, da, da, da. Yeah, but there's a whole lot of filler pages, like for real, right? But if you look at that like it's a battery, the life of the battery, the power of that battery, you go, yeah, that was cool. But there's certain books like the Avengers Annual number 10, for example. Okay.
Yes.
That thing came out in 1981. I still look at that thing every day, and every fucking panel charges me.
Nice.
The whole thing is like a giant energy fucking band.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's not like boom, boom, boom. Cool, man. That was fucking rock and roll. I want, like, my mission is like, nah, man. I want somebody to pick this shit up. And that was drawn in 1981. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's 43 years ago.
Yep.
I still find shit where I'm like, oh God, the fucking beast is reading a book with his feet and drinking tea, and like he didn't have to do that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The script was like Avengers are sitting around, and he put, you know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
fucking do that.
Yeah.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
I completely, yeah, I agree with that. I love the flashy stuff because that definitely stays with you. As an artist, I love watching or studying, I should say, how some of my favorite artists have drawn some of the more simple scenes or whatever, just what they put into it. You know, I like watching guys like, Capullo,
Oh,
how
yeah.
he
He's good
draws.
at it.
He just draws everything so well, right? You know,
He's
a
really
cartoonist,
good
right?
at
He
it.
just does everything
Yes.
so well.
He's
Silvestri,
really
is the
great.
same way with the last Batman book that just came out. Like every
Yeah.
panel in those 7 books was
Yes.
interesting. Like there was
Did
something
you
fun in
get the
every
black and
panel.
white one too? The
Yeah.
director? Yes.
Oh,
you
well,
did.
not the entire
It's
not
like
the
2
entire
issues,
7.
right?
Yes,
it's
I
like
got the
1 and
ones that
2.
were the 2 issues. Yep.
Yeah, they never. Why didn't they do the rest?
There's apparently a European book, like you can only get it overseas, that's got the entire black and white, all
I
7
got a
issues.
homie out there. I'm gonna make him hook me up.
Shelby Robertson, I saw he's got one, and I
Does
tried
he?
looking it up, but every time I went to buy it, it's all in like foreign, pricing and stuff. I'm like, I don't know how the hell to check out. Like
Oh,
I
you
don't know
just
what to add,
it,
enter in the stuff.
it'll sorry, my wife's in Florida and she just sent me a picture of my 5-year-old dressed as Moana. Too much.
Aw.
Too much.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
why
man.
Todd brought up those pages though about the grocery scene?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he inked the backgrounds.
Did he really?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
That's he did like some cans and shit. Like he knew
No
the
way.
assistant. He did a few pages. He knew the
Did he?
guy working
Oh,
with
shit.
Klaus's
Klaus?
assistant or whatever. Yeah, Klaus's assistant.
What?
So he
Is
was
that-
at
is
the
that
guy's
true?
apartment. Facts. He was at the guy's apartment and
Wow.
Klaus
If
dropped
Sean
him
says
off.
it, I believe it.
Yeah,
Silvar, what up, man? Good
That's
to
an
see you.
original one of our chat members. We
haven't seen you in a second?
Yeah,
Good
no,
to
I
see
haven't
you.
seen Silvar, man. He goes way back to the Couch Doodle days before
Good
that
dude,
channel
yeah.
got exploded.
Yeah, he was actually one of the guys that came over the first time we had you
Mhm.
on the show, and he was
Yeah.
one of the guys that stuck with us
Yep.
for a little while.
He's a good dude.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah.
But
But
I
yeah,
do-
Todd brought that up just so he could probably like subliminally like
Oh yeah, remember this scene? Why didn't you
Yeah, yeah.
remember this scene?
Yeah.
That's funny, man. I
Mhm.
didn't know that.
But
Todd's a funny guy.
I do I definitely do agree with that. You know, like if you can have the impact of an entire book,
Yeah,
that's definitely the goal, you know.
for
Uh
sure.
I just the style to me is interesting. It's an interesting subject because so much of comic book art to me is style. It's the personal style. It's whatever you
Right.
pick up from other artists, whatever you like, whatever you kind of discover on your own and tweak and kind of do stuff, you know. And I think that's one of the reasons why, I mean, yeah, painting has different styles, artists have different styles, right? But the uniqueness of storytelling within comic books and comic
Yeah,
book art style is so fun because as a kid, I could fall in love with all the big names in the 90s that were doing stuff, right? You know, the
yeah,
Lees, the Sylvesters, the McFarlanes, the Liefelds, all of them. And then I could find people that had similar styles that were coming up after them, like you, Marat,
yeah,
Booth, all
Mhm.
these guys that reminded me of some of those names, but there was
yeah,
just something enough that was different and special about it that drew me to it, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, I fell in love with it. And
sure.
that's what I love about comic book art style. And again, it just kind of goes back to like, what are you doing that's cool? Yeah, can you do an entire book cool? Awesome. But
Mhm.
Yeah,
those some of the stuff in the 90s, the flashy stuff, you know, whatever people want to say about it. The cool thing about the 90s were just the feeling that it left you with, and still does,
that's
you know. And
right.
Yeah.
so all I try to
That's
do with
it.
art, and I know all we try to do here that's on this panel, is leave you with that emotional feeling that's going to stay there
Amen.
for a long, long time.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Todd McFarlane's Hulk. You know,
Yeah.
I was just like, the fuck is this? You
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
not like I feel like I mean, I got 9 years on you. I don't know what your like my first like hardcore year of like where I was like, nah, comics are great was
Yeah.
1984.
Okay.
And so, but the greatest, like one of the greatest years in comics was 86 because you got like Dark
Oh,
Knight,
right, yeah.
Watchmen, and of course like the whole black and white revolution with the Ninja Turtles and
Yeah.
Mhm.
all the independent stuff that came through. And then I got to watch guys like Rob, Todd,
Mm,
Jim go from like something's going on with this guy's stuff. I remember the first
Mhm.
time I saw Jim's stuff, you know, first time I saw Rob's stuff, first time I saw Todd's stuff, you know, and
yeah.
it's like there's something happening, you know, and
Yes.
you get to watch it like move and blossom, you know, and that was exciting. But part of me wonders if somewhere somebody, some smarty pants, let's call them a smarty pants.
Yeah.
Uh, oh yeah,
Oh, there you go. Shaman.
yeah, Alfredo Alcala over Buscema. You want to see? I got a Buscema sitting right here,
Oh, yeah. Let's check it out.
right
Ooh.
here. Look at this.
Oh, nice.
Oh, look at the energy in
That's
that. That is
awesome,
Isn't
man.
that great?
beautiful.
There's nothing realistic about this.
Right,
Not one
exactly.
bit.
Oh,
Exactly.
look how
It,
skinny his ankle is over here. Oh, this guy doesn't know how to draw. Where's his feet? Where's that hair?
Exactly.
that's
Fuck off.
powerful.
The
It's energy,
exaggerated
bro.
Powerful.
realism
Yeah,
is
Mhm.
no, this
how
this
I
whole thing is about energy, but here's the problem though. Some smarty pants, uh, bean counter. I don't know. They said uh, one with the image guys because you have to understand the movement of things. It's almost like the Hollywood system back in the day. The studios used to control the stars and their
right.
narrative and like
Yep.
hid their proclivities and things. Some of them were doing some wacky shit.
Right.
So comic books was very much that for a while. First, it started off the first guys in comics in the 40s. They felt like they were slumming it. They weren't
Okay.
illustrators and they weren't newspapermen. They weren't doing strips. So they really felt kind of like they were slumming it. They used like guys like Lou Fine used 7 different names. What up?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, used 7 different names. Eisner had his sweatshop and
Yep.
like
Okay,
and
yeah.
but then along comes guys like Kirby and Buscema who were like, nah, we're gonna do this, like we're workhorse guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then Neil Adams comes in 59, and he's the only guy hired in 59, by the way, because of the whole seduction of the innocent thing, the comics
Okay.
code,
Yeah.
where they
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
crushed EC, and
Mhm.
Neil like 59 was a bad time for comics, a great time for jazz. Best time for jazz. Best year in jazz is 1959. If you don't believe me, check out my playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then John Byrne comes around, George Perez comes around, and these
Mm.
guys were the first of their kind in that they wanted to get into comics because they were fans of comics.
Right. Yes, yes.
Okay. They were the first guys. Those other guys were just getting work.
Punching clocks. Yeah.
Yeah, let's draw this shit. Let's get it done. But John Byrne, George Perez, they were like, yo, I want to do that. I want to be like Neil Adams. I want to be
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
but then guys like Liefeld, McFarlane, Lee, those were the first fan guys.
Right. Yeah.
Rob will talk about this. Like, he was a George Perez stan. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Yep.
anywhere George Perez would go, Rob would be there, like, yo, George, like when he's like 14, 15 years old. So he was like, and he was that way with John Byrne and all that. So then you get that generation of guys coming in. Then you, on the next generation coming in, that is looking at Liefeld, Lee, and going, whoa, shit, how'd you do this? Oh, look back at this. Oh my God, Kirby's
Yeah.
great. Ditko's great.
Mhm.
Like, I start getting an education. I don't know about Hal Foster. I don't know about Roy Crane. I don't know
Right.
about Milton Kniff. I don't know
Mhm.
about any of this stuff. That's true, Kayla. You got Spain and Art Crum and the Fabulous Freak Brothers, Bay Area. And then there was Art Adams. But you have to understand, Art Adams, he did help shape all that was Image Comics.
Mhm.
But Art Adams, he was also super fan. Thank you for bringing him up. Paul Azevedo, what's up, brother?
Hell,
I
Paul.
haven't seen
Good
him
to
in a
see you,
while.
brother.
Good to see you, dude. Art Adams, his style, if you especially if you look at the early stuff, is very Walt Simonson,
Mhm.
Michael
Mhm.
Kaluta, Michael Golden, and a little bit of Barry Smith.
Yep.
And you
Yeah, I can
smash
see
those
that.
guys together, you get early Art Adams. And ultimately, he started steering at almost in a way like when Michael Golden went a little more cartoony with the Nom. That's right around when Art started doing his stuff, and also Dark Knight was a big influence on Art Adams, like the
Mhm.
the bulkiness and the big chins and things like that.
Oh, yeah,
But
I can see
but I
that.
digress. So then guys like Murat, me, Brett Booth, J. Scott Campbell, we're like, you got John Byrne, first fans, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, second fans. You get my generation, which is like third fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Echo.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's kind of how your influences go. But then at a certain point, like I talk about the one thing that it's not a regret. I wouldn't take anything back, though. Sometimes I fantasize about, like, if I could time travel back with the brain
Mm.
I have now to
Oh, right.
1992 and just be like, nah, I know what the future is. I'm just gonna fucking do this. You know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like, I would do some different things. One
Right.
of the things that a lot of youngsters get caught up in, and a lot of people get caught up in. I have a saying. Uh, you can't read the label when you're in the jar.
Mm.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
and a lot of people when they're in the jar, they're such uh super fans of things that they try to emulate, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna
Yep.
draw like Dave Finch, or I'm gonna,
Right.
I'm gonna, and there's this thing, and what happens is, as you do that, you are creating a separation between your. This is gonna sound so lame. Uh, it is your truth, but I'm gonna say,
Your truth.
yeah.
Like it.
Hey, feed the children.
Yeah. Good
Have a
night,
good
man.
one,
And
brother.
Wu Tang is for the children.
Facts.
Yeah. I got to work with RZA. I gotta,
Oh,
big up RZA.
That's
semi
what's up.
brag, but not you.
Yeah, not
Huh?
you. That's great. Somebody brag about it.
Yeah. But what ends up happening is, especially in a studio environment, and this isn't any sort of like defense or anything like that, but when I came to Extreme, I drew a certain way.
Hmm.
I drew like Dan Fraga. I
Right.
when Rob hired me, I drew like Dan Fraga. And I have plenty of sample pages to show you what that guy drew like. Okay. When I got in the studio, I still drew like me, but then I started, I had to work over Rob's layouts, which was
Mhm.
like, as cool as that
Right.
sounds, it's really difficult because he doesn't necessarily, while they're amazing, like that's not how my brain thinks an arm works, and that's
Right.
not how my brain,
Yeah.
and like, but the second I try to tinker with it, it loses the energy because I'm like 18. So,
Mhm.
I'm basically following it and basically like adding as much detail as I can because I love detail.
Yeah.
And the response is he draws like Rob. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
but then you get new guys in the studio like Jeff Matsuda, right?
Mm,
And
mhm.
Chap Yape, right?
Yeah.
Those guys those guys did it right. Jeff had a voice. Like when Jeff came in and did the troll and Newman,
Yeah.
nothing in the studio looked like that. And nothing
Right.
out on the stands looked like that.
Right.
And same thing with Chap. Chap was almost like Liefeld and Jim Lee had a love child,
Yeah. He had a
Lo-
really cool style.
real
Yep.
savage, really cool style. But what we found out was like there was always this sort of in the studio you would see people bug out over Jeff, and you're like, oh fuck, well I better put more shines and reflections
Right.
on my shit, and so and so is adding debris, and Rob loves debris. I better put that debris in there,
Gotcha.
and then you get to a certain point where you're like, I'm not me. I'm
Mm,
literally doing all this other shit to try to impress this thing that isn't, like you said, Joe, earlier. You draw for you.
that's
I
right.
wasn't
Yep.
I wasn't doing that. I wasn't
Yeah.
doing that at all. I was drawing for other people. Um, and it wasn't until I left comic books that I realized, yeah, you got to do it for you,
Yeah.
And I left comics in 2003.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it really does. It's funny too because hearing you listen to you tell that story reminds me the only time I ever met you in person was when I was 14, I believe. Maybe I was younger. I can't remember. Anyway,
Okay.
it was
All
in
right. So that was in 95, maybe. What was that?
it was 95 or 96. I can't remember
Okay.
exactly what.
Yeah.
I met you at a convention near Dearborn, Michigan. You were at Jim Lee was there, J. Scott Campbell was there. It was the first convention I ever went to. And
Okay.
I happened to be walking through Artist Alley, and the entire thing was cleared out. And I've told the story before, but
That was 97.
okay, that was 97 then. All right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because Fantastic Four, Captain America.
Yeah, and
that was
Tom
all. Yep.
Tom Savini was sitting like down here.
Yeah, so Savini
Yeah.
was there. Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
And
Yes, I know the show. Yeah.
So everybody was cleared out. It must have been around lunchtime. I don't know, but like nobody was there except for you. You're sitting there and you're drawing a commission and you're drawing a picture of Kid Supreme. And I remember getting some some courage to come up and talk to you because I was like, oh shit, it's Dan Fraga. So I go up and I start talking to you and just doing stupid kid questions, trying to have a conversation. And I remember I said something that like I was like, I'm a huge fan of Bloodstrike. I love that style. Like that's my favorite style that you do. and you said to me, you're like, yeah, it's like you were really polite about it. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna paraphrase, but you were
Yeah.
kind of just like, yeah, that's really cool. I like that too. I was like, but this is more of what I want to draw. And I remember you specifically said something like that to me because I had asked maybe a question about why you had changed your style. Because you had a
Yes.
big, you had a style change. As a
Yeah.
kid, I noticed it from
Kid
Bloodstrike to
Kid Supreme was the first. Berserkers was
Berserkers,
a little,
yes.
Berserkers
Yep.
was a little bit of me, like, Black Flag was me like touching the water. Berserkers was me sticking my foot in.
Right.
Kid Supreme was me going, because I got to write the book. That was the thing. I got to plot it.
Gotcha.
And do like all the creative management. I didn't script the book, but I got to do all of that. And what does that say? Hey guys, using
This
Bree
guy's
in this.
Bree in this stuff.
That's it.
That's
I'm
it. I'm
drawing
drawing
Parmesan.
Parmesan.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he uses cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was this like hunt for formula, and but dude, that's so great. You have that memory because a lot of yes, my man. How are you, Smokey?
Hail, Smokey.
Good to see you. Really good to see you.
Hail, Jason.
Yeah, 23. It's episode 223.
223. That's right.
Look at that, right there.
It's almost like we planned it.
Did you?
We didn't. It's just
you asked me like a month ago.
Yeah, literally just we've had to cancel a few weeks because I've been really busy at work and some other stuff that popped up. So it just happened that way, man. So
I'm gonna turn off my camera real quick to make Art Bear appear. I'm gonna make this sound.
Okay.
You know that sound.
I do know it. We can say that the Art T Bear also guests on the show tonight. I'll have to put him in the credits. Be like, Art T Bear,
Dude,
special guest.
Everybody, I'm Art Bear. Oodles and doodles. It's available now.
No, but it is funny. Like I remember that specific. It's a memory that sticks out of my mind, and it does because you're the first professional artist I ever met.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Paul Azevedo, dude.
Oh,
okay.
Shit.
Check this out. Do you know who the first person to buy my mixtape was?
Was it Paul?
No.
Okay, I was about to say like
wow, but I only sold like 5. So thank you, Paul. The very first person I sold a mixtape to was Lee Bermejo.
Really?
No shit.
And he was 15 years old, the kid from Bakersfield who drew like Wills.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's where he and I became friends. I was like, dude, you're the first person to buy my mixtape. You're my friend forever.
That's awesome.
Paul Azevedo, you're my friend forever, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I don't even have a copy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
I have the this was cool. The producer, he and I are still friends. Wonderful man named Dave Lewis. He sent me the discs, the recording discs, and we transferred those over to MP3 because we recorded that like on reel to reel, and they they put them on like a bunch of different discs. So he sent me that stuff. I was able to get those MP3s, so I have like the full res versions of them now. But there was a good 20-something years that I had the worst mono copies of my own demo. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's cool.
That is, that's
dude, awesome. I love that stuff because there is so much of everything that I love about like 80s and 90s hip hop. Just different effects, different sounds. Like it's all amalgamated into your mixtape. It's the best of the best.
Yeah, we did what do we do? The things that I came up with, this is really cool. So Rob Liefeld was the producer because he was like, he put Dave and me together, and
nice.
And Dave's an incredible artist too. If you guys don't follow
Big Dave, is that Big Dave?
Big Dave.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Dope dude. Yeah.
Big Dave Lewis.
Yeah.
Pimp Dad. He was called Pimp Dad before P. Diddy was called Pimp Daddy or whatever he was called.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Paul, you know, if you go on to the Black Flag campaign at the
Yeah.
very bottom, you can download. You
Yep.
can download all those files. You can have them. But yeah, Dave. So I came up with what samples I wanted. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I said I wanted Brick House. I wanted Teddy Pendergrass. I wanted some spinners. You know, like, and I came up with that stuff. I came up with the concept of the songs. I wrote all the lyrics. We went down to a place in LA called Black Hole Records, and Kenny McLeod was the guy. He's still doing it too. But this is where Bone Thugs and Harmony recorded their first joint, right?
Oh,
Like when
nice.
they were with Easy E. You remember when
Right,
Yeah.
right.
They were
Oh
Easy's
yeah.
group. So I was like, I'm recording where the Bone Thugs recorded. You know, I was like really stoked. So we did the whole thing there, and it was so much fun. And here's another really weird piece, because I know you like these weird pieces of history, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Literally 2 blocks down, turn left, walk a block, was a place called the Hawthorne Grill. The reason, and it's now an auto zone. It was on Rosecrans, and people can chin check me on it if they want. Uh, no, you can't. It was called the Hawthorne Grill. It's where the diner scene in Pulp Fiction was filmed.
Mm,
Oh.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I went up in there. I got breakfast. I got to sit in the same table
Oh,
you know, it was like
Dude.
it was so
that's
cool. And
cool.
like, because you know, my movie brain, I'm like, oh shit, that's where Honey Bunny was sitting, you
Right, right,
know.
right,
Right.
right.
Like, but it was right around the corner from Black Hole Records. So anyway, that's, you know,
That's cool. That's history.
li-
That's
That's
little
fucking
badass. Yeah.
history, man. That's dope.
little crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So
Kayla's
back
dropping
on
some
topic,
thuggish ruggish bone.
it's a thuggish ruggish fun. Yeah. But yeah, on topic, man, like, think about the images that stick, right? Like Steranko, for
Yup.
example. That wasn't sticking to realism. That was pop art. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a book, if you guys want to check it out. It's I don't know if it's expensive now or not, but I got mine print on demand. It's called Self-Created Man.
Sounds familiar.
Okay, and it's about Jim Steranko.
Oh,
And
okay.
this dude from New York interviewed Steranko over 5 years, and they
Wow.
dissect all of the tales of suspense, all the Nick Fury stuff. And basically, Jim did 29 stories,
Mm-hmm.
and in those 29 stories, he created 143 new conventions that have never been done in comics prior to Steranko.
Wow.
Right? And he did it in 29 comics, just 29, right? 143 new things that nobody had done in comics before. And this book basically takes you through all of them, and like, and Jim answers like, "Oh, I was doing this because I was watching this movie and I thought it would be cool if this." It was not, it was kind of an afterthought, you know. And you go, "Oh shit, that is like full on, just, you know,
Right.
giving it up,
Yeah.
you know." And
Yeah.
uh anyway, it's called Self-Created Man. You need to check it out. But going back to the images that we recall and remember, even through going back before I was born, the big stuff broke all the rules. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Mm-hmm.
they I don't know where these art snobs are coming from, honestly.
Yeah. Who
Like,
knows?
where are they coming from?
Failed
And
high school art teachers.
maybe,
Could be.
maybe, you know, the I don't understand certain guys. I bring up Splat, and I love his style no matter how he draws. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from him. That's my homie for life.
Yeah.
But there's like, I think I talked about this on a Couch Doodle show a long time ago, where I called it the sweet spot. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like Travis Charest, X-Men Wildcats, sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Art
Yeah.
Adams, New Mutants Special and X-Men Annual 9, sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? Jim Lee, Extinction Agenda, sweet spot.
Mhm.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like I would still buy comics every day by that guy.
Right.
Yep.
You didn't have to fucking change. But then there's also like the part of me that it totally is a hypocrite in that sense. So for example, Ron Lim.
Oh yeah, Rob. Yeah,
Okay, Ron,
good stuff.
great artist. You can hold up something from 1988 and from 2024, and they look just like they were drawn by the same guy, with no
Interesting.
change, right?
Depending on
And
inker, I'm 100% with you. Same book. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm with
and J. Scott Campbell falls into that category.
Yeah, yeah.
you.
You
Yeah.
could take a 2002 J. Scott Campbell drawing, wonderful, wonderful.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
2024 J. Scott, it's no better, no worse.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I
Okay.
get you on that. Yep.
And Jim Lee is in that zone too. And the thing I call it is McDonald's syndrome,
Hmm.
right? Which isn't a bad thing. They sell millions of burgers,
Mhm.
but McDonald's got to a point where they found a consistency, and they said, "This is it. I'm not deviating from this. It's going
Right.
to be this forever and ever. This is what I do. This is my brand. This is what I do." So on one hand, I'm like, no, I want them to stay that way. But on the other hand, I'm like, grow, do
Right.
something new,
Yeah.
you know?
Dude, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yep,
so it's
exactly.
weird. It's weird.
It's crazy to me because I fall in love with a style, much like music, right? You get in love with a band's sound,
Mhm.
and you
Yes.
want to keep hearing the sound that makes you feel good. But when they grow and they try something new and you love it, it's awesome. But when they try something new and it's not really your thing, it's
Yeah.
a double-edged sword, right? Same thing with
Yeah.
art. I love when an artist can grow and keep becoming awesome to me, and because art is subjective, right? So you take a
Yeah.
guy like Brett Booth, right? You take something from 92, take something from 2024, right? You can see the building blocks. You can still see
Yeah.
it's Booth, but man, just the evolution and the improvement, right? It's just
Yes.
and that's what I want to be as an artist, whether it's music, whether it's drawing or whatever. Like, yeah, that's what I want to continue to grow and get better and better. But you don't change so much so quickly that it throws people off too fast.
Yeah,
Does that make
there's a
sense? I was
yeah,
kind of
it makes
stuttering through
sense
that,
because
but
there's a something called the Maya principle. MAYA. It's most advanced yet acceptable.
there you go.
The yet acceptable part is the hard part, and that's anything in this world, whether it comes to foods, design of something like a stereo or a new car or whatever. People want the most advanced,
Mhm.
Right.
but also acceptable, so it always has to have its foot in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Otherwise people go, what the fuck is going on?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or like me sometimes, like I'll tell you this, when BC Boys Ill Communication came out,
Mhm.
I was mad. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this shit? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, what is this shit? And I didn't realize, it's like you got Paul's Boutique, which
Right.
they went a little crazy, and then they went real crazy, and I was like, what are they doing? Right?
Mhm.
And now I go back and I'm like, shit, this shit is so good. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like
Right. That's
I
what it
wasn't
is.
ready for it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But is it our job to, for lack of a better phrase, spoon feed the advancements?
Right.
Mm.
Or do we just fucking do our thing? Because there are some disappointments. There's a lot of guys who I was like, yo, this is the shit. Don't go. No, don't.
Yeah.
Come
Yep.
on. All right. I'll buy all your old shit. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's as fans, we would love to be spoon fed, right? But
yeah,
as an artist, it's like, I want the people to have, well, like you were talking earlier, Dan, draw how you want to draw
mhm,
how it makes you happy. And if that
yes,
person decides to evolve or take it in a way that might not be as pleasing to me, then it is what it is. You know, like I've never been
Yeah.
upset at anybody. It's just like, oh man, I really loved it when this person drew like this, you know, because it was more aesthetically pleasing for my eyes, you know.
Mhm.
But obviously, as an artist, you know, yeah, do what you do. You know, you only have a finite amount of time to enjoy the
Right.
thing that you are doing that you love to do. You know, so
That's right.
go and do
Hey,
it.
here's a question though: how far is too far? Because
It-
I love all the new shit Frank Miller's doing, and I see
Mhm.
people like, and if you guys are in this camp, you're in this camp. Maybe you're
He gets
not.
a pass from me. Yeah, that guy
Yeah,
gets a pass from me.
dude.
regardless. Yeah.
Every image, I'm like, yo, I totally see. What up, Dennis?
Hey,
Everything I see these comments, I go, listen. I see what you're seeing. I
Mhm.
do, but I also look at this and like, it's selling a vibe, bro, and that vibe's working.
Yep.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, it's punk rock. To me, like it doesn't have to be, you know, uh, so focused. But how far is too far?
Yeah, and I think that all goes, you know, just kind of goes back to the person themselves, you know, because
Right?
we, you know, go back to the beginning when we said, you know, it becomes a cliche statement to throw out, but yeah, art is subjective. You know, it's
Mhm.
however it affects you personally as the viewer, as the listener, and whatever art you're taking in. So whatever's good to you is good to you, you know, and it might spark somebody completely different.
Mhm.
Like take for instance, me. I'm a big fan of Avenged Sevenfold, you know, and they've evolved their music over time from
Good
the
band.
punky stuff back in the early 2000s to, you know, the more, you know, focused songwriting, you know, and then they take a almost what 8-year break or whatever it is between albums, and they come out with their newest album they came out with last year, and nobody
I
really
had no
knows
idea.
exactly how to think about it, you know,
I
because
had
they
no
completely
idea.
changed their style.
I storyboarded a video for them.
I know that's why I wanted to bring it up because
Oh,
you did
right on.
Yeah,
Backcountry,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I was gonna say I don't remember the name of the song. I just remember it was in Vegas and there were bats.
Yeah, it's Backcountry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Nice.
let me see. I might be able to pull up those storyboards.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome.
Let
That's
me see if I
dope.
have them. Hold
But that's a
on.
good, you know, that's an example. If you guys listen, if you, there's any Avenged Sevenfold fans out there, you listen to the new album, they did something very experimental. And that's their prerogative as artists to experiment and continue growing. But a lot of old school fans, and me included, like I liked it, but it wasn't what I wanted, right? Like I wanted
Yeah.
some stuff that was going to tickle my ears like it did when I was in my 20s, right? Like that's what I wanted.
Right.
Right.
It's go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was going to say it's like the Monkeys coming out like with the TV show, and then a few
Monkeys.
years later they give you Head, and you're like, "What is this?" Like it's a masterpiece. Don't get me wrong, but like at the time, like the fans were like little girls. Then
Yeah.
the little
Yeah,
girls became like stoners and trippy guys, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
this is great music, you know. But it was
Yep.
too strong. Like I love Mignola's Cosmic Odyssey. I appreciate what he can do now. It's not for me, but that's my personal opinion. I relic on how masterful of an illustrator he is with his stuff, but I'll go back in time to what I like.
All right, I found them.
All right. Let's see
I
it.
found them. This is June 6th, 2005.
Oh, it takes me back.
Wow.
Okay, so that's hopefully preview will open it. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me see. What quick preview? Let me try to open these
Uh-oh.
again.
Okay.
There they are. All right. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, let's see. 2005, man. That takes me back.
Yeah.
I remember where I
Margaritas at
was
the
when this
pool.
album
Oh
dropped.
yeah. Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that date, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember the date, but I'm just like, I remember when the album dropped and everything.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah, dude, I can totally see it. Holy shit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So this is essentially, let me, I gotta make it a single page. I first off, I haven't looked at this in a very long time. It's been almost 20 years, so it may be bad drawing. I don't know.
But were you still using your conventional like comic book art tools, or were you just using like
Oh, dude,
ballpoint
no, I was.
pens?
This
or-
was a Uniball. I still use them too. The fuck is it called? A uni. So like it was a gel pen, right?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, this was.
Oh, yeah.
God
This was.
bless.
Hell
This
yeah, look
was.
at
Yeah. This was the shit.
That guy in the
Dude,
middle
that's
looks like Rob.
Ah,
awesome. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So this was it. I think the director was Mark Glassfeld, if I remember right.
I can't remember, but
Yeah. But I remember it was like a little play on Fear and Loathing.
yeah, Fear and Loathing, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
the song was based on
Oh,
Fear
it's
and
Bad
Loathing.
Country.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, see, I was fucking around. You could see, you know what I'm saying? Like, because nobody was gonna
The
see this shit.
caricatures. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's gonna see this shit. I just was having fun.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Even your
Yeah.
techniques were
That is super cool.
top notch. Just your
Thanks, buddy.
beautiful stuff.
Yeah, this was all by hand. This is before I was going digital.
It's
When did you
funny too,
start
because
that?
just seeing a lot of those, like I can see where they took and they kept quite a bit of the ideas because I knowing the music video fairly decently as I do, just
Yeah.
going through those layouts, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see that. Hell yeah, dude, that's awesome.
I plan on doing a series one day. Let me see if I can find. I want to do it on YouTube, and I want to call it VHS.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And the reason I wanted to call it VHS is Vaulted Hollywood Stories.
Oh, nice.
Not
Right.
where I was going with that, but sounds even
Yeah,
better.
yeah. Here, I'm gonna share this with you so you can see
All right.
some of the dates on it and everything. So this is some of my jobs that I've done over time, and
Wow,
you
look
can
at
see
that.
2003. Like if I organize them by time, look at 2003, 2004. Like here's
Wow,
Usher.
dude.
This was Usher. Can you see that? Does it pop up or no?
It didn't pop up. No, we just
Nah.
still see
Okay.
the J or
Yeah,
the
let me
description.
see if I do it. If I do it by icon, let's see. Let me see if I do it like this.
Oh,
No,
please tell
like
me you worked on Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yep, I can see
that.
that.
Yeah, is the only one I didn't work on that album.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sign me
So
up.
yeah, this sucks. These are so low res, but this was for Usher's "Let It Burn."
Was that supposed to be
Nice.
chilly?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. No, let me rephrase that.
Yeah,
Not your interpretation
and check this
of
one out, man. This was a video that was supposed to happen but never happened. It was a Eminem Tupac
Oh, really?
song, and
No
yeah,
shit.
it was. And I know these are like super low res.
You kind of make it out though. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool. It probably helps me out for. You want to see the high res? Come see my show.
there you go.
you
That's
go.
right. That's right.
Yeah, let's do it like that.
Plug it.
So these guys break open this thing and they go in and there's the body of Tupac, and so every time Tupac raps, it's this like shadow, and the shadow follows Eminem along, and whenever you see the reflection of Eminem, it's Tupac, and he starts to rap. And by the way, look at the date on these. This is 2004. This is pre-Transformers.
Oh,
The reason I say that is because I drew the spirit of Tupac goes into this thing and
Oh, no shit.
transforms into this robot. Yeah,
Oh.
the raps and all that. But yeah, dude, I
Dude,
have
that's awesome.
so much shit. G Unit popping them things.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, no, I've got great stories for all this stuff. Like,
Dude, yeah, that would be a hell of a show, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should definitely do that.
let me see, is Transporter in here? Yeah,
Oh,
here's
nice.
Transporter, man. Transporter, that's got this one's cool. Hose fight storyboards. So this is something we did in
Oh,
in Paris, right? So
nice.
what we did is we shot with photographs, and after we did sort of an animatic with the photographs, it was my job to fill in sort of like some extra stuff,
Yeah.
like going from this to this, but like some like extra things. So these are all by hand.
Dude,
This,
that's cool.
yeah, some more. This was all rehearsal stuff. Man, that's what I'm saying.
Dude,
I
that's
got
what's
like
up.
so many stories and things. Camera movies. Let's see what that is. We're going off topic. I apologize.
No, it's a
No,
good
no,
it's a
no,
good
this
rabbit
is-
hole.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like this movie here. Let me see if we play it. Is it playing?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah, so this was rehearsal with Jason.
Oh no shit.
Nice.
There's me.
Nice.
Yeah, this was us going through a fight sequence with a fight coordinator. Man, I had tons and tons of movies like this. This one here, this one she's dancing to, and
Mhm.
this is my angle. You could see all the mics and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The iPod that she's dancing with is my iPod
Oh no
because
shit.
they didn't have a prop, so they used my iPod. And this
Dude,
scene's
that's
in the
wild.
movie, but this is all like behind the scenes stuff that
That's awesome.
you know, like
No,
I'm
I love
saying.
shit like this.
Look at
What
this.
a beautiful
This is
life.
a fight rehearsal. Let's see if we can play that one. Come on. Nah, it's not. It's not doing it. We're having computer issues.
No, I feel you.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm gonna do this thing called VHS,
That sounds
where
awesome, man.
I kind of tell some stories behind the scenes from my perspective, because I've done it now for 21 years, like storyboards and
Yeah,
directing.
it's wild.
So that dude, I've got like Ricky Gervais stuff. I got Beyonce, Jay-Z,
Dude, that
Usher.
sounds like a hell of a show. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
should definitely do that. I would love to see that. I would love
Yeah,
to see
because
that.
it's like, you know, I think about it. I'm like, that'd just be a lot of fun just to let people in on, like, you know, at least a perspective.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Oh,
But
100%.
let's get back on the topic, man. I totally sidebarred.
No, that was good. I enjoyed
dope.
that. Yep. Well, I mean, the topic, yeah, I feel like, you know, we've definitely covered it pretty much for, you know, opinion wise. Yeah, it's just I would say a lot of the people that do the breakdown or criticisms of stuff, I think are just people that just want to tear people down. That's how I boil it down. And
Editors.
I just
It
kind of
could be,
ignore all of it.
but here, going back into conspiracy.
Okay.
So the image founders were a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And because at that time, like I was saying, that sweet spot,
Yep.
89, 90, 91, and they break off in the beginning of 92, you could go out on your comic book stand, get a Dale Keown, John Byrne, Walt Simonson, Art Adams, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Wills Portasio, you know, name it, and it
Mhm.
was on the stands, man. We fucking lucked out,
Right.
Mm.
right? So, but the emphasis was very much on the artist who was doing it, right?
Yeah.
So, when they left, that was a big old undercut punch to the balls of Marvel and DC. Even though DC wasn't directly affected, they were affected because Image Comics came in and became number 3.
Yeah.
Hot on their heels with way less books.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right. So there was a concerted effort to kind of remove the cult of personality. You know, I think Joe Mad and Dave Finch, Humberto Ramos, maybe even Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah.
There's a few that came out of it, but name one that's on the level of a McFarlane, Liefeld, Silvestri, Lee.
Oh, nobody.
Well,
Nobody.
Nobody.
Not me, not Brett. J. Scott Campbell, kinda, almost, but not really.
I would say if Turner hadn't passed, I definitely think Turner would have got up there.
Mike. But there was a concerted effort to suppress that cult of artists.
Yeah.
And there was sort of a tamping down in this sort of homogeny. When I go to the comic store, and I love my comic store, if you guys are anywhere near Macon, Georgia, go to Fanboy Collectibles on Ingleside. That I'm just shouting out my comic shop because they're amazing. But I go in there and I flip through stuff, and I'm buying facsimile editions. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel Warren Johnson, I love him. Every time I see him, he looks like he's scared of me. I'm like, hey man, I love your shit. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, But Daniel Warren Johnson, I love his Transformer stuff. I love, Beta Ray, the Mother Trucker, all everything he's done. Same with James Herron. But this sort of artist first, like when we were collecting,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
has been completely suppressed because they can't have uh, a mutiny like they did.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it, I think, before when you've been on the show, and I think that's absolutely things. Definitely. I mean, they succeeded
Yes.
in doing that, and it's still succeeding today. Unless you're in the indie scene, and then you can really
Yeah.
kind of do what you want. And,
Well, that's where all the flavors are, man.
yeah, absolutely.
There again. Let's say I'm not knocking anybody out there. Not gonna go and call them jobbers or anything like that. But you got your standouts like what's his name? Jorge Jimenez.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Batman stuff he does.
Mhm.
I'm really enjoying it. I like Mitch Gerard's stuff. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Some of
there are
these
guys,
names.
yeah, they're doing things where you're like, oh shit, that's not Jerome Pena.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that they're there. But the problem is, and I think Liefeld touched upon this. If you guys haven't subscribed to his podcast, it's called Robservations.
Mhm.
Definitely do it.
But there used to be this double-edged sword called the Wizard, and
Oh
the
yeah.
Wizard very much advocated the creator first.
Yeah.
So that's why you would have any sort of celebrity at all being an artist. But in this day of internet, guys like Opena, even though I follow him on Instagram and I love his stuff, I buy everything that he does. He's not a personality. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I was buying like I had the wonderful happenstance of meeting Rob November 19th, 1989. That was the day. It was Pelicon in San Francisco. I had a TV show called Comic Review for You, where
Yes.
and I did a portfolio. I wanted a portfolio review, and I actually went there to see Eric Larson because years prior he had said some things, you guys know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get a portfolio review from him. So I got one from him and I filmed it, but I also filmed the one from Liefeld and was like, yeah, man, this is really cool. This guy is like giving me actionable stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like a good dude, but they had there were fanzines back then, like Comic Scene and Comics Journal and Comics Review and Comics Feature.
Yeah.
I collect them all. Comics Interview, that's one of my favorite. David Anthony Kraft, rest in peace. And there was a vehicle for it, but it was also sort of gatekept in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody could get in there.
Right.
And now we have the internet, and what's really tough is back then a guy like Jim Lee didn't have to do much but draw good and have editorial do a couple things on Jim, and you're like, Jim Lee, right? Editorial doesn't do shit like that anymore. Number one. Number two, if you're out there on the internet, you're a needle in a needle stack. You're a platinum needle in a steel needle stack. You know what I'm saying? And how do you differentiate platinum from steel? You know what I'm saying? You gotta go. You know it once you have it in your hands. But so it's tough, and that's why this YouTube thing is great. You you have a shot. You have a shot. At least talking to people and all that. But anyway, coming back all the way around, steering it all the way back around, there's been a concerted effort to take away our faces, any sort of like value to our name.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely. They kind of meander around it. Oh, by Ryan Stegman. Okay, cool. You know, I like Ryan. I like him. He's a great guy, good dude, and draws well. But like that, there would. It's just a different day and era,
No, I feel
and
you.
they kind of succeeded because even when you look at a Jorge Jimenez, even when you look at a Stuart Amonin and Jerome Opina and all this, as well as they draw, there feels like they've been in music terms it's called gated,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
and in speed terms it's called throttled, right? Like you like
yeah.
you can touch the ceiling, but you're not fucking
Not
you
breaking
know what I'm
through.
saying?
Yeah,
So there's this sort of storytelling that is boring as fuck. Let's just say it.
yeah,
And that comes from, I believe, trying not to have those splashy images, having those battery moments, like I was talking
yeah.
about earlier.
Mhm.
And then the other piece of it is some of my favorite shit. Doctor Strange 55 standalone story. You're not gonna put that in a trade paperback unless you put it in a collected edition, right?
Yeah.
But hey, let's take this Tom King story and milk every fucking moment and make 5 pages of Batman putting his mask on.
Yeah.
You
No,
know
I
what I'm
get you.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's because they want this fat trade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I don't know. I'm old. I'm old. That's why it says geezer.
There- there's a young, well, I don't know how old he is. I know he's younger than me, but we had him on the show not too long ago. A guy named Netho Diaz, who's doing some
Yeah.
art right now for Marvel. We really dig
Tremendous
his stuff
talent.
because it's got kind of a 90s vibe, but not, but
Yeah.
he's touching on that, And one thing I love that he's getting jobs because he's getting gigs and they're bouncing him from miniseries to miniseries. But I'm like, when are they going to take the dude and like put him on a run of something?
Right.
And that's something we've talked about in the past too. No artist, and shout out to Todd McFarlane for putting Brett Booth on a long run on Gunslinger and putting him on a long run on Spawn. But no real big company right now is taking any artist and putting them on a long run
They can't.
of a title.
They won't. They can't.
Yeah,
They won't
they
because
won't do it.
because Image Comics happened.
Yep.
I sound like a fuddy duddy because it happened like almost 35 years ago.
But it was such a giant impact
Dude,
in the
it was
industry.
a paradigm shift.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, don't let that happen again. Like
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
we can't make hit makers and then let them go make hits on their own.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got to gate them. We got to throttle them.
Yeah.
Well, what does a run consist of these days? 6 issues, 8 at best.
They're all miniseries now. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Like the promoted artists, they're like, we're doing this new title. They got this guy to write, this guy to draw it, and then 5 months down the line, here's the new artist, and it's like, I didn't sign up for this, But
Yeah.
that's the way
Just
it works.
keep
And look, there's
filtering
no
people through.
balls. Like these people
But
don't
I
have the
bet you
personality.
the
balls
writers
like
have
Todd.
runs. I bet you the
Oh,
writers
the
have
writers
runs.
do. Yeah.
Oh,
hell
yeah,
yeah,
they're
they do
on there
because
from Jump
they
Street to the end
run.
of the day.
It's like the writers and the editors. They run everything now. It seems like
Yeah.
in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it's sad because it was really better in the industry when the artists had more, I don't know, prestige to them. It just was, like you said, there was a personality, there was excitement. One thing I loved about growing up in the 90s, being a comic book reader, is that yes, I loved the art and when Gaga over it, right? But I loved also learning about Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and all these guys. I loved what were they like in their workday? When Wizard used to come out with like a day in the life or whatever, and they'd
Right.
follow, Rob around in Extreme Studios and they, just, document everything. And it's just like,
Yeah.
that was what was cool and what just brought you into the comic book nerdom world that we lived in at that time more than anything. And now, like you said, it's just yeah, there's some really cool art out there. There's guys that I follow, but that's kind of where it ends. You know, unless you're
Yeah,
following people on social
they're
media
not
and they want to
hyped.
be,
They're
yeah,
not
exactly,
hyped, and
not hyped at all.
they're not carried. I'll tell you, man. It's not just comics. Uh, I work out in the mornings with my thank you, some person. I'm 51. Thank you so much. The great on
Hell
rap.
yeah.
If I was to shave up, maybe, baby. Uh, but I work out. I go in the gym and at like 6 in the morning. And I was telling my brother that I was really getting kind of obsessed with watching old MTV award shows.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I watched the 2010 MTV Music Awards. It was hosted by Chelsea Handler,
Okay.
and it's only 14 years ago.
You're right.
But man, times were so different. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? And
100%.
and then I think about like, okay, I've had an iPhone since 2008, but before that, I had a smartphone, but it got email. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it had a camera on it.
I
It didn't
remember.
have apps. So that was only 16 years ago. I say only while it flies like motherfucker.
Dude, I'm right there with you.
It goes
Oh,
so
yeah.
fast. What up,
Oh, yeah.
Paulus?
What up, Paulus?
Was the shit.
I never had a BlackBerry. I had the Blackjack, the Samsung,
Okay.
the Blackjack, which was it was cool.
Yeah.
I had the what was it called, the Sidekick. You remember the T-Mobile
Yeah.
Sidekick? I
Mhm.
thought it was so cool because it had AOL Instant Messenger on
Right.
it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I was like all like really crazy into it. But going back to what you were saying, Joe, the discovery. When you get these wizard articles and there's discovery,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the entire world has changed.
Yeah.
In
That's
that,
true.
and no, it has, because like I try to I have 4 kids. My stepson who's going to be 20 got his tattoo worked on today. Going to be
Nice.
20. My daughter's 13. I got a 10-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl.
Wow.
And I watch, but like my dad, when he was 10, he was 10 and 53.
Right.
I was 10 and 83. There wasn't too much different about those childhoods, except maybe color in the TV and
True.
some cable,
Mhm.
Yep.
HBO.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Uh, uh, oh shit, Smokey the Concat's like, if you're telling tales, bro, tell the Snoop Dogg one. Oh man, I could tell that one, but I'll tell that next, I guess. If you guys want to hear it, because it's not on
Sure.
topic. It's not on topic at all.
It's like at all.
But I hope you have steel-toe boots on, because I'm name dropping like a motherfucker. Yeah, but yeah, my dad's childhood and my childhood weren't far from each other. We rode our bikes, we built forts, we played in the mud, we went
Yeah.
off until the lights came on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I have a 10-year-old who he'll be 11 this year, but his childhood is unrecognizable
No, I get you. I
Mhm.
get you.
compared to mine, with iPads and PlayStation, and like he's making videos with his iPhone and like animating on an iPad, and I'm like, yo, I would have shit my pants.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is Star Trek shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah. Yes.
and like I can't believe it. So we have those advancements, but unfortunately the double-edged aspect of it, like I think it's amazing that I could Shazam a song. What is this
Right.
shit? But oh shit, cool, right? What are the lyrics to boom? So cool, right? Oh, I want this song. Boom, boom.
Yep.
Dude, when I wanted a song, I had to call the radio station I had to listen. I had to listen through the fucking busy signal until I got it to ring. And then
Yeah.
once it did, I got put on hold to ask them what was the song 3 songs ago. And they tell me, that was Milli Vanilli. Girl, it's true. Like, because I remember the first time I heard that song, I was like, what the fuck was that? Because it was a banger, man. Like, take all the controversy away. That shit was a banger.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? And I'd have to, like, Rick D's Top 40, number 5, Milli Vanilli's Girl, it's record, hit that record button on the cassette.
Oh yeah,
And then I'm like, oh fuck, you talked over the end.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
You talked over the fucking end, man. That's fine, because I don't have the Skrilla to go buy that 45 right now, but I will.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And music was so important, and you invested so much time. And what I call it is adversity. I tell my daughter, because she's so spoiled, you have no adversity in your life. You have no adversity. You have no idea what it's like to wait for something. I ordered something. We didn't have the internet. We sent the mail with some postage and shit. And 4 to 6 weeks later, we got something back. But we watched that mailbox at that 4-week mark every day. And that anticipation was fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
They don't have that anymore. I want it. Boo, here it is. I want it. Boo, here it
100%.
is. So anyway, I digress. Times are different. We got to discover things. We got to read these magazines and get those tidbits, and that's why I was like all about like I said, comics scene, comics interview, comics journal, comics review. So Snoop Dogg tale.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll wrap the show up with a Snoop Dogg tale.
All right, cool. Let's do it. Snoop Dogg tale. Smokey the Concat. This one is for you. Oh yeah, Columbia House. That's right.
Oh, Columbia House. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I still owe them like $9.
I probably owe them more.
Hopefully they're not charging interest because no.
Yeah.
Okay, so Snoop Dogg's story. So a couple things were happening. My buddy Ray Brady, he's still out there making music. He's touring with Santi Gold. He also has Kilo Quiche, a record he produced. But when I met Ray, he was a session guitarist. He was a session guitarist for Black Eyed Peas,
nice.
and also the stage guitarist for Jessica Simpson. He was the guy who convinced Ashlee Simpson to make music. He was also the guy who he was dating Fergie before she was Fergie, when she was Stacy, and she'd come smoke weed at my house.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, Ray was the one who brought her to the Black Eyed Peas because he's like, you guys need a singer. She's fucking dope. It was his girlfriend, right?
She's from Wild Orchid and Kids Incorporated.
That's right. And Kids Incorporated. That's right. Yeah. She sang on Toy Soldiers, man. Step by step. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. But so anyway, my homie Ray, he and Ashlee Simpson's band were playing on Jay Leno. Okay. So that's that. They're playing on Jay Leno. Let's just sidebar that. I am going up to visit my family in the North Bay area in Martinez, and I have a friend named who worked at a weed farm, and all of my friends down in LA would tell me, they would put in an order with me, and I would drive to the Bay and pick up said order from who came from Humboldt. So I had a pound and change of deliciousness. Along with some hashish. And so I'm driving home from the Bay Area to LA, and I get a call from Ray, and Ray's like, man, where you at? We're doing Jay Leno. Do you want to come visit? And I was like, dude, I'm driving home from LA right now. He's like, well, we're going on, at like 4:30, and this is like 11 in the morning. And I was like, dude, I can be there by 3, So I get there, and Ray meets me in the NBC parking lot, and he's like, "Dude, you don't know who the other guest is, man. It's so cool." I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "It's Snoop Dogg." I'm like, "Fuck, that's so cool." He's like, "You want to meet him?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude. It's fucking Snoop Dogg. Let's go see him." So Ray takes me to Snoop's dressing room, and he's like, "This is my friend Dan. He works for Marvel Comics." He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." I go, "Yeah, I draw. I'm drawing Wolverine and shit, you know." And he's like, "Oh hell yeah, that's so cool." And I'm like, "Dude, if I knew you were here, I wouldn't have left my hash in the car. Like I got like a pound of bud and some hash in the car." And he goes, "Well, it ain't gonna do you no good in the car now, will it?" And I was like, "Check." And I was like, "I'll be right back, bro." I was the fucking Flash. Like I was, choom. I went to my car. I came back, choo. And came back to Snoop's green room, and he has a guy that rolls for him, right?
Yes. Yeah, on payroll.
Yeah, he has a dude on payroll that rolls for him. So I'm like, "Here are the finest herbs from Humboldt, sir, and here's some hash, sir." You know, and this guy rolls them up. And I'm with Matt Yackey, by the way. Matt Yackey.
Oh, nice.
If you ever had Matt Yackey on the show, let him tell you this same story, because it's going to be like Rashomon. Right?
Okay.
Because he was there before. He was already there when I got there. So
Right.
because Matt Yackey's gang, you know. So we're there, and we're smoking with Snoop, and it's amazing. And we're smoking, and in comes the shadow of Jay Leno's chin. Okay. And we're like, "Oh fuck." And because I'm sitting on the floor, Matt Yackey's sitting on the floor, and Jay Leno comes in, he's like, "Oh, that's an awful lot of smoke." And Snoop's like, you know, and this is when Snoop officially quit smoking weed. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we smoke out, we go onto stage, and Snoop Dogg is the first guest. And Jay Leno says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Snoop Doggy Dogg." And Snoop comes out, and he sits down, and he's like Chinese, just, right? And Jay Leno says, "So I hear you quit smoking weed." And Snoop goes, "Shit." Like that. And the audience goes, "Huh?" Right? And there's like a moment of silence, and Snoop says, "Can we do this again in like 15 minutes?" And Jay's like, "Sure, we're gonna restart," because they, you know, it's not live. They
Right.
restarted the show,
yeah.
and he
That's
says, "We're
awesome,
gonna
yeah.
restart the show." Snoop needed to take a knee from the
Wow.
shit that I brought from the Bay. So the first thing I did was call my brother, because he knows Boop, and I said, "You tell Boop that he just chopped down Snoop Dogg." I said he came out, he could not hang, he had to come out again. Yeah, so that's the Snoop Dogg story.
Dude,
that's
that's hilarious.
100% true, not a fabrication in it. Get Matt Yackey; he will tell you the Rashomon version from his
Walk through
point
that
of view,
sometime.
because he'll go,
That's
"Yeah,
funny,
yeah,
dude.
yeah." Ray called Dan, and Dan showed up. You know, like get Yackey in here to tell you the other piece. But
That's hilarious.
That's cool.
And there was a second time I got to smoke with Snoop Dogg. It was at the there was this thing that Kiss FM used to do called the Jingle Ball.
Yeah.
And it was Ashley was performing, Maroon 5 was performing, Stevie Wonder. I got to meet Stevie Wonder, which I was like, you know, and Snoop Dogg, you know, and I said to Snoop, I was like, "Yo, man," because I saw him in the hall, and he remembered. He's like, "Oh, comic book guy." I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Yo, come see me," and I was like, "When?" He's like, "Come see me now." So I'm following him, and he's got his entourage. So 1, 2, 3, 4 people come in, and bodyguard at the door fucking pushes his hand right into my chest, you know, and he's like, "Where do you think you going?" I'm like, "Snoop, help me!" And, you know, and then Snoop leads back, "Nah, he cool," you know. So that was the second time I got to smoke with Snoop, was at the Jingle Ball. But
That's
I got the fucking hand, you know, the you ever see
Yeah.
Kung Fu Hustle?
Mhm.
That fucking, you know.
I
Well,
don't.
I got to smoke with a legend myself about
Yeah?
a month ago. Yeah,
Who?
yeah. Uh-huh.
The cutest little guy?
You.
Oh yeah, we got to smoke in Jersey, bro. That was
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my bucket list. I need Willie Nelson still.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But I've smoked with Method Man, so
God bless.
that is checked off. I smoked with. I mean, this is going back 20-something years. I have this pipe. I won't even tell you what the name of the pipe is.
Oh, well, you said this on the show, so I could. You
Oh,
didn't say
Smithy.
you.
It's Smithy.
Well, not the name. No, is that the TRL pipe?
It is the TRL pipe.
Alright.
Yeah, you know this story then. Yeah.
I don't believe so, John.
Yeah, there was. I have a pipe called Smithy, and we call it that because it deserves to be in the Smithsonian, at least for that era of time, that
Sure.
2002 through 2004 era.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm telling you, TRL, like, 8 out of 10 people on TRL smoked out of that thing. A bunch of people from the Viewers' Choice Awards. Like we were, like I walked through a Tobey Maguire, Leonardo DiCaprio poker game.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Like, yeah, that's why I'm saying those days were weird. I got to meet why is his name escaping me? Scott from Stone Temple Pilots.
like
Wyland.
Wyland,
Yeah.
thank you.
I
Yeah,
would say now it's escaping me. Yeah, wild.
I got to meet him once, man. Like those were crazy times, man. That's why I think I want to do that VHS thing.
You should, man.
Like,
You really should.
I got stories on stories, dude. It's crazy.
One of my favorite stories that you brought up, I believe it was the first time we had you on, was you're working on Wolverine.
Yes.
You're in San Diego. You're at an after party for NSYNC.
No, this was Vegas.
Oh, it was Vegas. Forgive
It
me.
was Vegas, and I was working on Superman.
Was it Superman? Well,
Yeah.
Mr. Belding was involved.
That was Vegas, the Real World Suite, 2003. I was working on Superman. I was with my man Chris Kirkpatrick.
Yep.
We were staying in the Real World Suite, and I watched Dennis Belding, Mr. Belding, Dennis. I don't know his real name, but Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell, spanking a stripper with a pool cue.
Yeah.
And not only was he spanking a stripper, she was completely naked. So, but it was this real surreal moment where I was already out of my mind. Right, I was drinking vodka cranberries but I also had a deadline, so I'm like drawing Superman. I'm in the Real World Suite. My buddy Chris, who's still my homie, we just talked the other day, hands me a joint, and I take a rip, and I hand it back to him, and I just have this sort of panoramic, from right to left. And he's walking off over here towards like the main part of the room, but over here is the pool table.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, like, this is the most absurd fucking surreal thing ever. I'm drawing Superman in Las Vegas at the Maloof Brothers Real World Suite. One of the world's biggest pop stars just handed me a joint, and I'm watching the principal from Saved by the Bell spank a naked blonde. This is crazy.
God bless.
It was
wild,
insane.
Man.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Those were crazy days, and now I'm old.
Well, on that note, everybody, we are going to end this really awesome show. Dan, we got to get you back sometime before the next couple of years. So it's not
Yaki, get Yaki and me on here, man. Here's the thing.
We should do that.
This is the wonderful thing. Yaki was there for like 75% of the shit.
Oh.
So he knows all of it. He knows it.
Hell yeah, we'll have to do that. Definitely have to do
Yeah.
that. Guys, I would love to go all night, but unfortunately, I have to work in the morning, and that sucks.
I
So
gotta be
we're
in the
gonna.
gym at 6.
Oh well, there you go.
I got
So
tea time.
You got tea time. Well, lucky you. We're gonna end this. We're gonna do the short intro or outro to the show. We'll be back on Monday for the comic block, which we call it, with the Spawn review at 9 p.m. and then 10 p.m. we have Appreciating Comic Book Art Live. So come join us for that. We're gonna try to have it. I know I've canceled the last 2 weeks. I've been really busy at work, so I appreciate everybody out there that's watched this show on a regular basis and just being very patient with my schedule. Appreciate you guys. We'll have some more updates on Reaper Destroyer and Type 1 on those shows. We're just gonna get out of here though, just because it is getting kind of late.
Go to my Instagram, go to my story.
dude.
You'll see what I'm working on for Type 1.
Oh, there you
go. That's all you gotta do. Do that.
Do it.
Updates.
Do it. Check out Reaper Destroyer. Check out Type 1.
Do it.
Get on it. Links down below. Dan, this was fantastic. This was a hell of a fun time.
You guys are great.
And even though it was a bumpy ride, a bumpy start to the show on my computer, so I do apologize to everybody for that. I don't know what the hell was going on.
They don't feel it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody, we're gonna get out of here. As always, I will say, be good to each other, take care of one another, and as always, picture me naked. Talk to y'all later.
I'm leaving that alone.
Peace.
Later.